Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So welcome to the in-depth Zero to Hero Python course. This is our first episode of the series. In this episode, we'll try to install Python. We'll also be going to installing Git, and if you're on the same text editor I'm using, we'll be going to that also. So since I have access to only Windows, we'll be going to the installation process in Windows only. But the process should be almost similar for other operating system like Mac and Linux. You can go through the docs for that. So for installing, we can go to the website python.console downloads. So if you go to the website, you can see it will directly give you an access to download 3.11. This is the latest version as of now. But the time you are seeing, this version may change, so you don't have to worry. You can just download it. So if you click this download, it should ask for a file and it should download it. So you can see it's downloading. So once the download is done, you can just go to your download folder and you can see this. Just double click it and it should give you if you want to download or not. So there will be a button said add python.exe to path. Just don't forget to checkbox this. Just click on the checkbox and click on install now. So when you click on install now, it will start installing. It should not take longer time, but yeah, it will just take couple of minutes, sometimes a minute or two. You can see the setup was successful. So now you can just close this. Now to verify if the Python was installed correctly, so I have written some notes here. So to verify if it has downloaded, you can go to your Python, you can go to your terminal or any command prompt and you can just type, let me just zoom this a bit. You can type python dash dash version. So if you type this, you should see the version number that you download. Since we download 311.5, so it should be coming 311.5. Sometime if you see if the Python is not working, there is some note I have written that you can follow. So you can go to your edit env variables. If you search on your Windows edit env, you should get a variable. So you can go there, click on this environment variable, and in the path you should see Python. If you clicked on the checkbox that I said to click on path, it should already be coming here. If it came here, then it will all start working. But even though if it doesn't work, just whatever came in that path, add it to your system variable also. That is for user variable. For system variable also, you can add the same path here itself. You can click on new and just add the path that was added to here on the top. These two path, right? The Python 11, Python 311, you can add it there also. If you do both of this, it should start working. So that is how the installation of Python is done. Now for Git, since I'll be pushing all this to Git, so you should have just a basic idea of how Git works. So first you need to install Git. If you don't have Git, you can just type git version. So if you say this command not found or something else, that means Git is not installed. So you can go to this website. Let's go for Windows. Let's go to this website. You can just go, I'll be sharing this in GitHub, so you'll get access to this, don't worry. So, and you can select your 64 or 34 bit and you can download this. So after this download and installation, however they said in the docs, you can just write here git dash version. If you see something like git version and something like 2.32 or whatever version you download, that means Git is working. So now we have downloaded both, we have installed both Python and Git. Now if you want the same text editor that I'm using, so we won't be using some modern text editor like GitHub, since that does a lot of auto completion. We want, since it's a beginner course, we want it to be as simple, like we type all the syntax by ourselves so that we can get familiar with the syntax. So you can go to this link. This is a GitHub, it's an open source text editor called lite-xl. So it's a very lightweight text editor. You can just go to this link and it should give you a, for downloading in different system, it should give all the links for downloading. You can just download this and you can get started using this text editor. So that is how we can get both Python, Git and text editor I'm using. I will be going through GitHub also after we do our first program. Then we'll be going through GitHub, since we'll be pushing this to GitHub and you can look on this after a while. So now let's get started writing our first program. So this is our first program. This is the name 01. I'll be numbering it 1 to n so that we can follow one by one like which came before what. If you see the name here, it says hello world.py. So .py is the extension for any Python file. So whenever we are working Python file, the extension will be .py. That says that this file belongs to Python language. Now the first thing that you want to learn when you get started with language is how to print statement to the terminal, or how we can buffer some statements. So for Python it's very simple. If you have learned using C++, you have to create main function, then cout or printf the text that you want to print out. But for Python we don't have to do all this. You can just write print. You can just write print and just put the text you want. Suppose it's a hello world. Since this is what everyone uses, so let's use hello world, and that's it. Now if you run this, let's go to our projects, YouTube, Python, and to run a Python script you can just write Python, the name of the script. For us it's hello world.py. If you run this should throw an error. I'll say why. So now if you see, it says syntax error, invalid syntax. You don't have to know what the syntax error. We'll be going through error handling after some concept. When we learn all the basic, then we'll go to error handling. But if you see, since these two lines, right, these are not part of Python syntax, so this is giving an error. So there is one how you can write this still not get error, that is called commenting out. Commenting out is like just writing something of your own that you don't want Python should execute it. So this you can give a pound symbol or the hash symbol, and if you give the hash symbol, it says Python interpreter that don't look at this line, this is just for my understanding, you don't have to bother with this, just leave it alone. Now if you save this file and run this once again, you should see we get the same string that we wrote here, hello world, in here. So this is how you print statement in Python. If you see, it's very simple. You just write print. Print is the, if you can't see, let me zoom in a bit. It just is, it's a small case print, and any text you write here, and if you run the Python using Python and the script name, it should print whatever you want. So Python can not only print text, but it can also do mathematical computation like addition, subtraction. So let's go to basic operation, and here you can see if you write print 1 plus 1. Now for basic math, this should return something called 2. Result should be 2. This will not get printed since I'm using pound symbol or hash symbol, and after this whatever I write, this will not be executed. It's just for our understanding. So this should give output of 2. Now if I run this, you can see first it gave hello world, then it gave 2. Similarly, like plus, we can do subtraction and all that. So let's do print 1 minus 1, print 5 cross 1, print 5 divided by 5. So now you see this should give 2, this should give you 0, this should give you 5, and this should give you 1.0. Now let's run this and see if whatever we predicted is all right. So if you can see, first it gives us hello world, then 2, then 0, then 5, then 1.0. Now you might be thinking, why did it give 1.0 when I want 5 divided by 5 should be 5? So in Python, when you use the division operator, right, this one, the slash, so it will go in a division of decimal number. But if you want it to be only integer, you can use float division. In Python it's called float division. It's just double slash, and if you put the 5, so what this will do is it will float division. So it won't, like if it was I'll say you, let me print this. So this should give you 1. It should not give you 1.0 or something, it should just give you 1. So if you run this, you see this is 1 but not 1.0. So what is the difference between two? Like suppose, let me say, if it's 3, suppose it's 3 divided by 2. So if it's 3 divided by 2, this should give 1.5. If you run this should give you 1.5. But if you do 3 divided by 2, it won't give you the decimal point, that's the 0.5, right? It will just remove the decimal point. After the decimal, it will remove the number, and it will give you just the real part of it, not after the decimal one, but the number before the decimal. So now if you run this, first it should print 1.5, then it will go to 1. So this is how it's done. So these are the some command then you can use with print to do things. Now there is one more thing. So in the print, if the print function also has some command, some other details. So if you do print, you can also write separately like hello, and you can put a comma and you can write world. This will also work similarly how this first one worked. So let's comment out all of this so that we can look this, it will print the same thing. So now if I run this, both of them should print similar things. So if I run this, see, it prints the similar thing. So in Python, you can differentiate the text one by one and you put comma. When you put comma, there will be a space among these two. So hello and world, since they don't have space, still Python will put a space between them. But this you can change it. So there is one parameter here called separator. It's called SCP. So here you can write, you can put any text between hello and world. So if you want hello and world should be differentiated by a star, you can put hello world separator equals star. So what this will print is, what Python will understand is, there are two texts hello and world. Between them, to differentiate them, just put a star between them. So this is how the text will be printed. So let's run this. So if you see, there is a star. By default, when you don't use separator, it will just take space between them. But when you put any separator, then it will just put the separator in between them. There is one more parameter inside print called and. So if you see all the print, right, we are writing one after another, it's coming in a different line. But what if you want that what we write one by one, it should all come in same line. So for that, what you can do is, suppose we write hello world, you can put a parameter called end. So what does end do? By default, it takes slash n. What does slash n mean? Slash n means break the line. But if you want that line should not be broken, so you can add another thing, like if you want space to be coming, so you can put one space and run this. For now you won't see the difference, but yeah, I'll show you what the difference means. So it come all hello world, hello world, hello world. But now if you see print, same line. So these two line, right, these two should come in same line, because this says after the end put a space. Don't break the line, but put a space. So now if you say hello world, same line, it came in the same line, but it did not break. So here default, let's put a comment, default of SAP is space. So this is the default of SAP, and default of end is slash n. Slash n means break line. So these are some of the parameters that you can use inside print, so that we can change the behavior how print function work. So you don't have to think like what is print function, what do you mean by function, what are parameters. We'll be coming through them slowly by slowly as we go forward. But for now, for the basic understanding, you just know that print is a function. Whatever you put there, it will just return you back in the terminal when you run this. You can use some parameter like separator and end. If you want to behave it, it will be differently than how it's supposed to. Now you may be thinking like for this basic operations, like for the basic operation, like how do we like we don't want 1 plus 1 2, we want like the user should say instead of 1 I want 3, 3 plus 1 should be 4. So that is what we'll be learning in the next episode. So for now, let me recap it what we learned. So print is a function. Whatever text we pass to it, it will just print out in the terminal. So inside the print, there are two more parameters that you can pass. There are some more. We will be coming to them later on, since those are a little bit advanced topic for the first class. So there is a called separator. Separator means if we differentiate the text by spaces, what do we want it to between the between the word, right? What is the text or what is the letter that should be coming, that is differentiated by separator. And if you want after the line, what should be it? So the next line should be printed on next line, or it should be on same line. So that is done by the end parameters. In the end, you can write anything here, not only space, you can do anything and it will just follow it. So whatever after this line, whatever you write, it will be just coming after what you said here. This is print function, and we can do basic operation in Python directly. We don't have to import any math library for the basic operation, you can just type print 1 plus 1, 1 minus 1 and all this. So and for the division there are two things. One is 3 divided by 2 and 3 double slash by 2, that is 4 division. Okay, there is one more thing. If you know of power, like 2 power 3 is 8, how it works is 2 power 3 8 means 2 cross 2 cross 2. So this is how power works in general mathematics. So in Python what we can do is we can write 2 double star 3. So how it works is it takes 2 and in the power it puts the 3. So this should return result of 8. So let's see, the last one should be 8. Let's run this. You can see the last one is 8 since this is the power. So these are the basic operation of Python that you can do. So this will be for the first one. I don't want to put too many things since you are learning Python for the first time. Just get familiar with this, print something else, write any word here. See, you can create some beautiful things just using the print function. Since you know we can put here anything, any characters we can put here, we can change the separator and do something. Similarly for the basic operation. Yes, till now we don't have user input, so whatever we write, the operation will be based on this. So you may be thinking how we create calculator and all that. Will be coming in the next episode when we take user input. That will look very familiar. Now since this script is done, now how do I push this to GitHub? So what is GitHub is, let me take you to my GitHub. So this is my browser. If I go to GitHub, so here there are a lot of repositories that you can push here. So you can put all your code here. So I'll suggest you to create one repository. It's just click on this and put any name of the repository here, whatever you want for us, and you create repository. What will happen, I'll show you. So we have already created repository. So let me go to my repository that I created already. Zero Hero Python series. So whenever you create a new repository, you'll be getting something like this. So since you already installed GitHub on your local, right, like how we said in the previous one, in the install text we have already installed Git. So what you can do, go to the same folder that you are and initialize an empty repository. So you can do git init. What git init will do, it will initialize an empty repository where you can put all your code, so you can push it to GitHub. So you can add git init. So this will give you initialize an empty repository, something like this. Now what you can do, you can go to GitHub repository that you created. It will give you a guide like what you can do. So this is one. Just follow whatever it's written here. So you can, we did git init. You don't have to write readme for now. So then you have to commit it. What is commit means in the GitHub they will know like why you post this, right? Like just writing a message. So we can write git commit message hello world script, right? We can write git commit and press enter. So now it says like there are some untracked file. That means we did not add any files. That's why it's saying like. So you can write git add and you can put the name of the file. And if you want every file of this projects to be going, you can just put an dot and you put all the file inside the git repository. Now you can commit it and you can write hello world script. So what this will do, it will just put a message on all the files that you created. Now what you can do, it says git branch -m main. What does this say? This main will be our primary branch. So in the git there is branching system. There are a lot of things in git. For now just follow this command. Slowly by slowly you'll be understanding as we put all our code in GitHub, right? I'll be explaining small bits part every episode. So git branch -m will say this is our main branch. This should be the default branch of it. Now we need to add the repository that you newly created. When you created this repository, right, it will give you a link. So you need to say that this is the remote repository that I want to push to for my local. Now after this is done, you can just do git push u origin main. After you do this, what this will do, it will take all your local thing and it will push to the link that you gave in the remote add, right? Whatever link you gave, it will push it. Now what you can do, just refresh this page. and you could see all your files coming here, like the hello world py that we wrote, right? If you go inside it, you can see we wrote everything came here. So that is how you can push all our, since I'll be pushing all of my code here, right? You can follow by starring it or forking it, or you can create your own repository and do all your code, right? Like whatever code you're writing, just put it on GitHub so that you can have access to it in the later part of the videos, or when you want to just look it back, right? Then you can go here. For now, if you want access to repository, I'll be sharing it in the description. Go there and you can start the project so that it can stay in your home. So I think, yeah, that will be for this episode. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you're interested to learn Python. So this will be a long course, and since it's for complete beginner to advanced level, so slowly by slowly you'll be learning everything that you need to get started with Python. We'll also be going some library, we'll be creating some API. In the end, we'll also be creating a larger project of this. So if you want to follow this, you can subscribe to the channel or like this playlist or save this playlist in your library, and we'll meet forward. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.